Greetings everyone, and welcome to another WIS technology tutorial. In today's lesson I'm going to demonstrate a strategy for getting more out of your Google Forms. In other words, how can you use Google Forms to create data that exists on the fly? So back in November I wrote a post about managing events and explained a little bit about a sample Google form that I had created. And the two fields that I want to talk about are the location field and the approval form field. So the location field is actually doubles as the calendar ID form, and the approval form also doubles as the email address of the person who would have to approve that event. So to illustrate this through a video, I've created a short little tutorial here. So I recently submitted an event using my form here for a holiday party. And it landed right here as expected in row 6. You should know that I'm also using the old form mule script on this particular spreadsheet. I'm not going to get into a tutorial on how that works because I just want to demonstrate two functions that I'm using with this. So the location of this event, this holiday party, we said was going to be in building 2. Now, what's nice about building 2 here is that I've set it up where it will auto-populate column L with the calendar ID, okay? So I have a tab down here at the bottom containing all of the calendar IDs for all of the building locations. This actually streamlines that process of uploading the event to the respective calendar. So let's look at the formula. I have to go to see the formula. I need to go back to cell L2, all right, because this is where this lives. And what's nice about the array formula for most functions is that it can look up and down an entire column. So you don't have to actually hold the corner and like drag this function down in order for it to apply to the other cells in that column. So just deconstructing this backwards, it's starting with a VLOOKUP, right? So this is saying, you know what? I want you to look up whatever is in the range E2 to E. So this is our range E2 to E. This is our location. So it's starting from here. I'm going to go look up all the way down this column as far as it needs to go. And then it's going to then move on over to the calendar IDs sheet. And it's going to look within this range, right? So calendar IDs A2 to B5. So, right, so this is from here to here. This is the range that we're looking up. And then it's saying we're going to take the second index, okay? So the way this works is that the first column would have an index of 1. Well, the first column is just the name of the building. So we don't want to bring back that information. We're getting that information directly from the form. What we do want to bring back is the column 2, which would be an index of 2. So this would be the ID that it's bringing back. So that's how this calendar ID is brought back into column L. And if I'm not mistaken, the if error documentation here is simply to sort of leave things blank if nothing exists. It kind of avoids that hashtag NA. I'm not 100% certain on this, but sometimes if no data can be found, you'll see this hashtag NA. And then, of course, which I already described, the array formula makes it possible to look up and down an entire range as opposed to just one particular cell. So that's kind of how I'm getting the calendar IDs in here automatically. Going back to this response again, I said this needs approval from, and let's just take a look at the name here. So this event needs approval from teacher 6. Notice I didn't put teacher 6's email address into the form. Well, I don't have to. That's data that I can create on the back end. So similar to the way I've constructed the calendar IDs, I can go over to the approvers. Again, I built this little database. I did add one little wrinkle in here in order to sort the teachers by an alphabetically named. I've simply created the raw list over here and then sorted them over here. That way when they appear in the form, they're in alphabetical order, because I'm using Form Ranger to pull the names over. So the only way this one is different than the calendar IDs is this is not using the array formula, it's using the VLOOKUP. So let's go back over to the approver email. And you can see here it's almost the exact same thing, except I've added $signs to the range it's looking up, right? Because this formula is copying down, if I don't have the $signs, the range will also be copying down, and eventually I will no longer have access to this range right here, because it would be something like looking up A5 to, or I'm sorry, looking up C5 to D9 or something like that. So in order for it to continue to look in this range without copying down, you need the $signs. And if we look further, notice how it's not looking up a range, but it's only looking up one particular cell. So in the calendar ID example, this was E2:E. Well, here it's simply D2. And this particular formula, it still copies down, but it depends on form submission. So I have the copy down add-on, which is it's bringing down the formula each time a new form is submitted. So these are just two strategies for creating data on the back end of a form and not having to rely on your users to submit it accurately. So I find you can get much more precise data if you can create it yourself based on what a user has selected in a form. So I hope this helps clarify some ways of sort of making more advanced forms and getting them to create data for you. Thanks for watching. Bye.